Pat Caputo is a stocky right-hander who comes out of Lake Orion and is now part of the starting rotation at 97, won the ticket. And on Pat's right is John Niyo, a lanky right-hander who throws heat for the Detroit News. All right, guys, let's talk about this. Tigers win 9-5. Pat, they won a series. Holy smokes. We were thinking that they'd never do that again.
Yeah, I thought Al Michaels was going to show up today. Look, they had a good pitching matchup for him today. And they took full advantage of it, which is to their credit. I thought Mize getting through 5 innings was important. And I know there's not a lot of comfort about the bullpen, and you can go through all the different things that may have made you feel uncomfortable. But they needed a series win. Cleveland lost. It was getting real tight. It's still tight. But, yeah, that was a little bit of breathing room, and it must felt good for that whole team and that organization to win today. My gosh.
No doubt, a chance to exhale. But, John, look, I'm looking at it, and it seems to be a return to a winning formula. They put runners on base. They get traffic on the bases, and then somebody cleans it off.
The opposing starter certainly had something to do with it, as Pat mentioned. Came in with a almost 6 ERA and looked like it. But, no, they were stringing singles together, seeing eye singles in the first inning, got it on the board. But then you also saw Riley Green, the second game in a row that he started, that he's looked more like Riley Green. He's not just trying to hit home runs. He's that home run there was a function of just trying to make contact, and he hit it out. And Kerry Carpenter, since he's been back in the lineup here for the last couple of weeks, he makes a huge difference in that lineup, and he did again today with a huge 3-run shot.
Pat, how much credit do you give to Riley Green to see the work that he's putting in pay off the way it is? Because, he even took BP outside for the first time in a long time.
He's trying anything. I don't know if we should give him some kudos for that. I was kind of surprised by that one.
Well, he's trying anything, though,
taking batting practice outside. I don't know if it falls under that category. But, no, Riley Green obviously is a hard work. You're going to get your very best from him. He's going to really try. But everybody's trying to figure out, probably Riley Green himself, is he one of those guys who's a real difference maker, one of those star guys?
Right.
And can he take it to that next level? He was flagging a bit there, a lot. Their problems are actually pitching and run suppression more than anything else. But his slump wasn't helping. The strikeouts had gotten to be ridiculous. And he's being tested. And last couple games here, particularly today, he passed the test. They need him to be their star. Their leader in wins above replacement, Zach McKinstry.
Yeah, I know.
Dylan Dingler's number 2. They need Riley Green to be they're one of their real stars. He's a centerpiece, and he's capable, but he's got to do it. This is the time.
John, Pat mentioned the problem is really the bullpen and what's going on, and I still question why Brendan Hanafy isn't here anymore. But they should have probably gone hard for Bednar.
Yeah, look, that's going to be the question from now until the end of the season, whenever that end happens, whether it's early October or late October. But Will Vest looked like Will Vest today. It's not exactly a high leverage situation today, but he looked like himself there. That's huge for them. But in between, he's still got the next month. He's got to figure out who these guys are going to be, who he's going to be able to count on other than Tyler Holton maybe, and, what else?
And who else comes up?
Kyle Finnegan. And so, Paul Sewald, they're hoping to get back in September. But in the meantime, he's got to figure out a way to get from, if a guy's going to go 5 innings like Casey did, from the 6th to the 9th, and bring it home.
And, Paul Sewald, I'm really curious because I keep hearing about that.
I've talked to him. I've seen him.
Why would Paul Sewald, be available by Cleveland, their main rival?
The same reason that Alex Cobb was available by Cleveland, their main rival. That guy was hurt.
Because he's hurt, and right? it's a lottery ticket you're taking, and it's also a luxury that Scott Harris probably felt like he had in terms of, we've got this big lead in the AL Central, and we'll see if we can get a steal here.
Let me throw this out, Pat. The bullpen now versus the bullpen in the future. There's going to be some guys coming back here. A.J. Hinch is going to have to start moving things around again, won't he?
With who?
With the guys who are coming back. What about Urquidy? The guys like that. We haven't seen these guys yet.
Oh, come on, man. I watched their minor league games. I watched him pitch, and he's not. Okay. He's kind of a finesse. I saw one of his outings. I forget which one. He was not somebody you're going to put in the major leagues.
Okay, that's good.
The Chase Lees.
Stopgap.
People are waiting for like Alex Lang to show up. He had 2 good outings, and all of a sudden, he's not remotely.
He couldn't throw strikes before he got hurt.
There's a lot of what ifs, maybes, but they really don't have somebody down there. Hannafy, I mean, it speaks to their bullpen that you're questioning, well, where's Hannafy? We saw Hannafy for a lot of the summer here. And, you know, it wasn't like we were watching, Mason Miller out there or something. No. It's a problem. If they had Bednar and Finnegan with Vest, with Holton, you push Herder down a little bit. Yeah.
You're looking at a good combo
there. So the question here is without question, and I don't know if Lorenzo or Brasino would have brought back Bednar or not, but if you didn't give up one of those two catchers at that pressure point, and you didn't get Bednar, who would have set you up for next year with him and Skubal, that is a legitimate question. Given that Scott Harris talked about an illusion, it's not an illusion that Skubal's here and the American League's a mess.
And both of those guys would be under team control.
Team control, and then you would have the back end of your bullpen because Finnegan's going to be walking. And then you have Skubal.
All right, guys. Detroit heads out on the road to Chicago for the start of a series on Monday. But on Tuesday night, Game 2 will be seen right here on Fox 2. Jack Flaherty will get the start for the Tigers. And after Flaherty's last outing, a 9-4 loss to Minnesota, he's itching to get back into a good groove. It's the Tigers and White Sox. Coverage starts at 6:30 with the pregame show on Tuesday night right here on Fox 2. All right, let's move to the NFL, where the Lions got a 17-10 win over the Falcons. But the focus of the game, guys, shifted dramatically with the injury to Morice Norris. And the good news is he is back in Detroit after spending some time in the Atlanta hospital. John, this was scary.
It's scary. It's the worst. It's the thing you dread, even as a sports writer walking into a game. Is I hope I don't see something like this. I don't want to have to. And those guys live with that reality every day they go on the field. It was scary. You see the ambulance. You see the reaction of players around. It is amazing. Good news that he was back at the practice facility here in Detroit. So you hope that's what it is, and that this is a guy who not only is healthy now, but is going to be able to play football again.
And you have to give credit to the first responders out there. Dan Miller said it on the broadcast. He'd never seen anybody get out there that fast to help a player. So it's good to see that down at Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta. All right, guys, the concern for Morris is valid, but still we have to look at the game here. And what did we find out? Did we find out anything about the backup quarterback situation?
Yeah, we found out that Hendon Hooker probably should be cut.
Okay.
And if he clears waivers, nobody picks him up in their practice squad. You got him on your practice squad. The backup quarterback situation is what came out of that game, other than the great news of Morris recovered. And Hendon Hooker just doesn't look good. I mean, he's got happy feet. They tried to set up different things for him to be successful. You could tell he really wasn't. The fumbles, just running every chance, So it's not good. And I don't know, Kyle Allen, that's not as good as Malik Willis. That's not as good as Sam Howell, the backups for these other teams.
Exactly.
And I think they're going to – I know they don't –
Is he really – Malik Willis and Sam Howell? I realize that. Kyle Allen started games in the NFL.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't know.
Well, he did. But he's 7-12-1.
I know. I'm just saying. My point is backup quarterbacks are not going to win any of these teams.
No. My point is, you got to. If something happens to golf, they're done.
True. Yeah. We all agree.
Okay, we all agree.
Whether you got Sam Howell, Malik Willis, or Kyle Allen.
But no, if you need somebody to win one or two games,
that's fine.
John, you didn't let me finish my point.
I'm just saying.
Before
we put Malik Willis in the Hall of Fame.
I'm not. My point is, he won 2 games for him last year.
Yeah.
Right. And Kenny Pickett won a game for the Eagles.
And that's what you're hoping.
And I'm not thinking that Kyle Allen can do that for the Lions as well as those guys. I'm sorry.
That's fine on the quarterback.
It is a huge problem. I mean, you drafted Hendon Hooker in the 3rd round, thinking this would be the time.
Be the guy, right?
Now you're speaking.
And he hasn't panned out. He's got 2 more preseason games to prove himself, but. No, this was a huge disappointment. It's not a good sign when you're getting pulled in a preseason game, which is essentially what he got pulled.
Woody, it was such a bad visual, too, because right out, Allen comes out and throws some deep
ball. 60
first ball.
The secondary guy for the Falcons wasn't very good on it, but it looked bad.
The ref had the best
beautiful pass to test Sly,
Yeah.
And then you're flipping on and you're watching Shadir Sanders pick apart,
Exactly.
On TV. It's like, and what's Hendon Hooker doing?
Yeah.
He's back there. He's going to
happy feet.
Yeah, what is he going to do?
No ball security. None of that kind of stuff. You mentioned Isaac Tesla, and he seems to be really stepping up and maybe competing for a starting job, John.
I don't know about the starting job, but he's going to play. You're going to have a role for him. And that was the question, when you drafted the guys. Is he going to be able to play as a rookie? Drafting him this high, they used some draft capital to get him. Yeah, he looks the part. You can see what they liked.
They missed the opportunity to give him the gold jacket. No. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. My sarcastic. He's looked good.
What did you see?
Look good.
What did you get to see from Tyleik Williams as far
I
as
thought he was
defensive
good.
line?
I thought Broderick Martin was good, which that's my favorite thing to mention. Where's Broderick Martin?
He was there. He was there.
And he actually looked. He played well. I thought he was good. I thought that there were a number of things that went well for them in that game.
The offense was just much better.
Yeah,
it was a lot
you
tighter.
needed to see that. I mean, look, preseason doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things, but it did need to look better than it did the week before.
Oh, by the way, that wasn't Craig Reynolds' fault he dropped that ball.
No, it wasn't?
No, because that ball, man, he just got crushed with that pass from Hooker. I think Dan Campbell wouldn't have put him out there with the starters because he didn't want to have Amon-Ra St. Brown being led in there with Hooker out there.
The ball pops out. But on defense, what about Giovanni Manu?
I thought he played well.
He popped out pretty good. And Tate Ratledge, what about his
He's good. He looked good, too.
Development as well.
I mean, I haven't looked at the Pro Football Focus grades, and I haven't gone back and watched the game yet, for full disclosure. Because a lot of times it looks different if you go back and watch it. But, the initial reaction, I thought those guys looked good. I like Tate Ratledge as a player, man. I love that.
I like the fact that they're starting him at guard and not center right away. So it'll be fun.
It makes sense. And I think they feel much better about where they're going to be come September.
All right, well, come this week, they will be facing the Miami Dolphins. Joint practices on Wednesday and Thursday, game on Saturday at Ford Field. It seems like the Mesa Blue are ready for the start of the season on August 30th against New Mexico. Pat Caputo and John Niyo back at the roundtable. And guys, what do we think about the Mesa Blue now that the squad is in camp, Pat?
Well, I think it's a lot about Bryce Underwood and the quarterback situation. If he's able to be one of these guys who steps in right away and plays well, that's going to help him out a great deal. Their personnel is still pretty good. I was impressed, I think everybody was, with the way Michigan closed last year.
Right.
Sharon Moore did not lose his team. He lost some football games, but he did not lose his team. So Michigan's kind of being disrespected. People aren't looking at him as one of the big three in the conference anymore. And, I think they got a chance, but a lot of it, let's face it, it's dependent on what Bryce Underwood does.
It does depend on the
Is
defense.
he ready for that challenge? He better be.
He better be. They don't have a choice. I mean, he is going to be the starter, barring some injury or whatever. The defense has a chance to be really good, even though they lost Kenneth Grant and Mason Graham to the draft. They really could be, one of the better defenses in the country. It's that offensive line that was such a disappointment last year that led to all those issues they had in addition to the quarterback issues. That's the part that I don't know if they've entirely fixed, and so we'll see. And with a true freshman quarterback, you really need an offensive line.
Is there still a feeling of, hey, the NCAA is lurking, beware?
I don't think the players and this team cares. I mean,
the fan base certainly does.
The fan bases and all the fan bases that hate the Michigan fan base care, and for obvious
Michigan
reasons.
fans don't
They don't care.
They're like, we got our natty.
Yeah, right.
We got our natty.
But no, the current player, I don't think they care. I mean, obviously there's an effect here, the cause and an effect. I mean, Sharon Moore's gone for 3 or 4 games or something like that. It does affect them, but they're not worried about it.
All right, guys, Michigan State also in camp. The question for the Spartans, Pat, is an easy one. How much of a step forward have the players taken under Jonathan Smith? Enough to become more competitive in the Big Ten?
Well, they've revamped their offensive line a great deal.
That'll help.
And I guess that Aiden Childs, he right now looks like Aiden Hutchinson. He's gotten so much bigger and stronger, and he's like ripped, and he's 15,
He's going to be shedding potential tacklers all year long.
Yeah, it's kind of like, looking at a super action like, Tony Stark. He's become Iron Man, when he gets on the field. But that's key. You have Nick Marsh is a great receiver. They've revamped their running back room, but they actually got a couple good backs. And defensively, their secondary was so bad last year. And I don't know. It seems like they picked up some guys, but I don't know. You're not going to know until you get on the field.
They could not sack quarterbacks last year. They got no pressure.
Bad.
It became just comical that they couldn't get any pressure. And then, I mean, I do think if Aiden Childs can rein it in a little bit, I do think there's some dynamic playmakers in that receiver. I mean, Nick Marsh could be a star, should be a star, and he's got some guys that they brought in from the portal that should help
There also seems to be a lot of buy-in for Jonathan Smith. I mean, you know, it's still a young program.
More
there,
in the program
guys,
than there
right.
is outside the program.
That
right
is
now.
true.
And
Isn't that where it has to start?
It's absolutely where it has to start, but then the wins do have to show up on the field
I like
for the
that
fans
term buy-in, man. It's great.
What's the other option?
The other option, and I think this is where the alumni are thinking, is buy out. Based on the way that ended last year, which was, let's face it, that was sad. I don't know. They brought in a receiver, Morice Kelly, I think his name, from Middle Tennessee, used to be a recruit from Auburn. And I looked up his numbers and everything, but when he played against, Power 4 conference teams, he had like 5 catches for 11 yards. So his numbers at Middle Tennessee were against, the Group of 5 team. So I don't know what they got, but they did pick up some weapons.
All right, we'll have to leave it there. That'll bring our chat time to an end. Thanks to Pat Caputo. Thanks to John Niyo. Pat can be found on 97.1 The Ticket. John hangs out at the Detroit News.